Are you ready for your own breakout year? Welcome to Creative Freedom. And in today's dose of empowerment for creative entrepreneurs, we're getting tactical and practical. And by that, I mean we're looking at your planning for your business. And I don't mean business plans, which I believe are mostly useless for creative entrepreneurs unless you're looking for external funding. Instead, I'm talking about strategic planning and goal setting. I know. It's March. Lisa, why are we talking about goal setting and planning now? If you're like most creatives I know, you're still in recovery from 2020, which was a hell of a ride in more ways than one. And the wrench that was thrown into your plans last year probably exposed parts of your business that need work this year. Or maybe you're finally buckled in enough to recognize that the lofty aspirations you started the year with ain't gonna cut it based on your current reality. It's time to be ruthlessly honest with yourself about what's really gonna happen in your life and your work this year. According to an article on Forbes.com, 80% of those lofty resolutions get dumped by the side of the road by this time of year. And mostly it's because we weren't really being true to ourselves in the first place. And instead of trusting ourselves, we succumbed to the peer pressure of New Year's Day, which was a Friday this year. I don't know about you, but how many times have you ever started something new on a weekend? That is like the worst time to start a new commitment. And for me, my birthday is just a few days later, so I am not starting anything until after cake and ice cream. Thank you very much. Plus, March is the end of the first quarter. So even if you've already done your annual planning, you can jump into your quarterly planning and get yourself back on track for the rest of the year. So whether you're ready to jump in today or you want to lay the groundwork for when you're actually ready to start, I've got you covered. Today, I am sharing tips that will help you any time of year. No need to wait until 2022 to get started. And the upside is that you can head into your next 12 months, whenever they start, with a solid growth plan that includes ways to navigate the unexpected. Because let's be clear, it's not a question of if the unexpected will happen, it's a question of when. And making a plan that gives you at least a little bit of cushion will go a long way toward more peace of mind in the coming year, whenever that year starts for you. Tip number 1, plan early and often. Now, that might sound wonky since it's March already, but hear me out on this. The plans you make today aren't usually for today, they're for the future. Unless you're a linear creative, planning probably isn't on your list of favorite things. Most creatives tend to be reactive rather than proactive planners. And 2020 exposed one of the biggest problems with reactive planning. You have no cushion. And while it's true that many of us had to shift into a reactive mode in one way or another, those of us who already had emergency or contingency plans for our businesses were often not as hard hit as those entrepreneurs who were always shooting from the hip. Think about the semiconductor shortages in the automotive industry. Some companies predicted it and stockpiled, and others didn't, and they're paying the price. Now, chaotics, hear me out on this. I am not saying that you can't trust your instincts or go with the flow. Those are some of your greatest gifts, and they're important to how you're wired for business. They actually help you when you need to be reactive in certain situations. But there's a difference between needing to be reactive occasionally and constantly operating from a place of reactivity. Imagine for a minute you're driving a car with your focus on the windshield wipers. I mean, you're looking straight ahead, right? You technically can see the road, and the oncoming traffic, right? Well, yeah, that's technically true, but it's a wild way to try and navigate the world. I don't know about you, but my driver's training instructor taught me focus your eyes 12 to 15 seconds down the road. So that's about a quarter of a mile if you're on the freeway or a couple of blocks if you're on a city street. There's your driver's lesson for the day. But if you do that when you're driving, why wouldn't you do the same in your business planning and your goal setting? No, you can't plan for every eventuality. But the fact that you've done any planning at all will set you up for success way better than flying by the seat of your pants all year. Like President Eisenhower said, plans are useless, but planning is everything. The act of creating a plan gives you a place to start from a set of guardrails, if we're going to continue this driving analogy. It helps you keep on track to the destination you want to reach. So plan early and often, checking in at least once a quarter to measure your progress and correct your course if things are not moving forward in the ways that you had planned. Oh, and watch out that you actually get the plan created before you jump into implementation. And I know it can feel like a drudge, or you might be really anxious to get started, but you need the clarity of what lies ahead on the road before you start driving down that road. Tip number 2, plan with a SWOT. That's SWOT, not SWAT. If nothing else, 2020 gave us all kinds of clarity on what's really important to us and how we want to be investing our time, energy, and money on a daily basis. It also helped highlight the things that you excel at and the things that, well, may need some work. So enter the SWOT analysis. If you've got a corporate background, this one is probably familiar to you. But if not, SWOT is an acronym that breaks down the potential areas of improvement for your business. S stands for strengths. What do you do well? And are there ways that you can be even better at it? W is for any weaknesses of your company. What do you know are the areas that you could be improving? O are your opportunities for highlighting those strengths or improving those weaknesses. T are the threats that could harm or threaten your business, like a global pandemic, or things that your competitors are doing that you can't at the moment. Every business has strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You can't always see them, but they are there. You can't always do anything about them either. But if you aren't even aware of them, that's when you get caught off guard and suffer the consequences. A SWOT analysis helps you see a little further down the road for those potential hazards that might become roadblocks on your success journey. Tip number 3, set flexible goals for growth. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but studies have shown that SMART goals don't work. And if you've been building plans that are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound, you may have found the same thing. And that's because the concept of SMART goals wasn't designed for human beings. It was designed for the corporate machine, where many people are working on a singular outcome. So instead, I talk about dumb goals. Doable, understandable, meaningful, and believable. Setting dumb goals makes it so that your goals are more flexible and easier to stick to when life throws you a snowball. And I think we saw a full-on blizzard of snowballs last year. So let's use our driving analogy as an example. Let's say you're driving down the road towards your destination, and all of a sudden, a fog rolls in that is so thick that you can't see your hand in front of your face. Are you going to stick to your original arrival time? I mean, it's time bound, right? We got to get there. Wrong. You're going to naturally need to slow down and adjust your plans. And that doesn't mean you can't get to your destination anymore. It's still doable, but you need more time to get there to make it feel more doable and believable that you'll actually arrive in one piece. And then let's say a freak snowstorm makes the road impossible to navigate. So now you got to decide. Do you still want to get to that destination? Is it still meaningful for you? Or is something else more important? And there's no wrong answer here. Okay, well, that's not true. The only wrong answer is doing what's wrong for you. So what is the doable, understandable, meaningful, and believable path that you can take to where you want to go? Now, we've also all seen those yahoos who blow past you in the wintertime saying, screw it, I got 4-wheel drive, I'm invincible. And then 2 miles down the road, you pass them with their butt in the ditch. Don't be that guy. Dumb goals help you stay flexible and see different scenarios that can still get you as close as possible to your goals by the end of the year, even if it means slowing down or changing course or dealing with blizzards or inconsiderate drivers on the way. Tip number 4, plan your content strategy too. It doesn't matter what type of content you create, from your actual body of work to marketing materials or social posts. A content strategy gives your business organic visibility on a consistent basis, if you've made a plan in the first place. Otherwise, you end up like a lot of folks I know, posting willy-nilly at the last minute because they just realized that they haven't posted anything in like 3 weeks. So hey, here's a picture of my breakfast. And by a lot of folks I know, I mean me. I've done that. I've flown without a content plan, and it's a painful place to be. It's driving with your focus on the hood ornament, not the road. You can't just build it and trust that people will come. That has never worked. And I have a whole rant about this on my blog because the actual quote is, If you build it, he will come. And I don't know any business who can rely on just one person to keep it healthy. You have to market your content. You have to share what you're working on so that people even know that it exists. Content marketing can also be a huge time suck if you let it, so it's important to create a plan that works for you, that also reaches your right audience. And that means being selective about your platforms, the types of content that you'll share, and finding a frequency that works for you. For example, there was a time when Creative Freedom was a weekly show and we only did it part of the year. This season, we're experimenting with a wider schedule for the full year. We're only a few episodes in, but so far it feels like it's working. We're getting more engagement. We're getting more feedback. We're getting more connection from our audience. That's you. Hi. And that's what's important to us. So that's what we're focusing on. And if this feels overwhelming to you, then you're going to want to tune into next week's episode, where I'm going to be talking more about creating a sustainable marketing strategy to get you off the hamster wheel of hustle with your content. Okay, tip number 5, budget for help. Now, as a fusion creative, I know how easy it is to fall into the trap of doing everything yourself. And sometimes it feels like it's just faster if you just do it yourself. And it actually may be faster too in the short term, but then it leaves you stuck doing all the things. And that ain't cool. I learned the hard way that success happens faster and easier in the company of great people. So look at what's going on in your business, or your life for that matter. Look at your strengths and your areas of improvement. You did do that SWOT analysis, right? Right? Once you can see what you're good at and where you need help, then do some research. How much money would you need to invest in a coach or a housekeeper or a babysitter or a virtual assistant or whatever kind of help you need? You may not be able to jump in right away and hire a whole team of people, but know the ballpark you're playing in and start saving. Create a line item in your budget for hiring help. You can start small with a one-off project and go from there. Heck, even asking your friends to help can make a huge difference. We all only have so many spoons to go around. And about 40% of my clients are dealing with chronic illnesses or disabilities that leave them with even fewer spoons than my able-bodied clients, which means you just don't have the capacity to do all the things, even if you're good at them. Budgeting for help gives you a chance to increase your capacity, because once the workload is off your shoulders, you'll free up your time for rest or to have more purposeful time for your work. You know, doing what you want to do instead of the have-to-gotta stuff that drains your soul. What a novel concept. And here's the other blessing in disguise. There's somebody out there just waiting for the chance to do that work for you. What? You mean there's someone out here who actually enjoys doing all the stuff I hate? I know, it boggles the mind, but it's true. Linears, there are plenty of chaotics out there who love all of the touchy-feely experiential stuff that can help to humanize your company. And chaotics, there are linears out there who will make a spreadsheet of your leftovers if you let them. Don't laugh, I know a guy. And fusions, just because you're good at a lot of things doesn't mean there isn't somebody else out there that's better at it, who likes it more, and who's faster. Woo, let's get more stuff done. Yeah. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Create a budget for help and free yourself to focus on what really matters to you. And if you're ready for your own breakout year, then take my advice.
Lay out your plan, go forth and then break out and shout what you're about. Break out.
Give yourself the time and space to plan, do, evaluate, and celebrate. Know your strengths and lean into them. Be flexible because life happens. And don't forget about your content when you're planning. Invest in help as you are able, even if it's only a little at a time, so that you can keep driving down your road to success. And if you need help, the Creative Freedom Incubator is open for enrollment. You'll find all the support you need to not only make your 12-month plan, but encouragement along the way to help you execute it and to course correct when things go off the rails. Our next quarterly planning session happens this month, and we'd love to have you join us. You can learn more about it on the website. Now, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to take a look at the plans you've already made or start fresh and build a roadmap for your next 12 months. And let me know how it goes, because I would love to hear from you. And for an even deeper dive on today's topic, be sure to check out the Creative Freedom podcast, where we have more examples and details to help you make faster progress with your planning. You can listen and subscribe on your favorite platforms, including Spotify and iTunes, among many others. And if you're somebody who needs something that you can hold on to, something tangible, then check out the Rising Tide Learning Library for a planning guide and free access to Dream Blazing. That's the annual planning tool that I've used now for over a decade, and I use it with my clients too. Click the link on the website to get your free access. If you like this episode, please help us make a bigger impact in the world. Support the Creative Freedom Show on Patreon, subscribe, get notified for new episodes, or simply share us around with your friends and your colleagues. Your help is what makes us one of the fastest growing shows for creative entrepreneurs around the world. So thank you for all that you do. As I mentioned earlier, next time we're digging into sustainable marketing strategies and how to build one that works for you. So I hope you'll join us. And until next time, for more inspiration and education to help you end the hustle and own your dreams without selling your soul, come see what's shaking over at LisaRobinYoung.com. You know you want to. Tell people's kids. All right. Where's the coffee? I need coffee.